reportedly been underway. Well, the BBC's Duncan Crawford is in a hotel in Kiev that protesters entered. They used the lobby to treat the wounded.
This is the lobby of the Ukraine hotel. It's been turned into a makeshift clinic where protesters are being cared for by medics here. It's an extremely tense situation. I just want to show you around what's going on here. A number of injured protesters have been brought here, some of them severely injured. A number of people have died and tensions are running high. People are fearful. They are angry by what has happened, and this after these clashes once again broke out between anti-government protesters and the riot police in the centre of Independence Square, where the protesters pushed the riot police out of the square. And we see these running battles take place across various parts of the city. In the hotel, on that side of it, there are actually bullet marks in the walls and the windows, and no one knows at the moment when this latest bout of violence is going to end.
Well, I'm joined here in the studio in London by Alexei Solobenko, former head of the BBC Ukrainian service, still senior editor here at the BBC. Who do you think broke the truce? What's the evidence mounting at the moment?
The evidence at the moment is very, very patchy. What is clear is that police brought in reinforcements. Clearly, there are pictures of snipers on rooftops in the area surrounding the area of Independence Square. The evidence from the gunshot wounds that those who were killed, I think the latest figure that I've seen is 35, shows killed just today in various locations, but they're now kept either in hotel lobbies around the square or in the square itself. Most of the wounded had been killed by rather professional shots to the head and to the neck. There's a lot of medical evidence of that. There are pictures, as I say. The fighting is spreading to the adjacent streets. There's fighting outside the presidential office where the EU negotiators are meeting the president.
But Alexei, I have to press you. Then it still raises the question, if a truce was agreed and sanctioned by the president overnight, how did this happen?
I think this raises a question of how it happened and whether the president is in control of his own interior troops, of his own police. And there are questions of whether this is the case, because it appears that the police didn't hear what was going on in terms of the truth. There was no withdrawal. On the protester side, they didn't really advance until early this morning. What sort of movement happened in the square is not clear, but around the city, roads were blocked, railways into the city were blocked, traffic police were blocking traffic, so there's no visible sign of any truce after the last night's agreement.
Could it be said that for some reason there was a provocation and some decided there was a different agenda to follow?
Of course, and I'm sure that, some people say in Russia, for example, and in part of the regions, they will certainly blame the provocateurs on the opposition side, and there are radical groups that are there. They're not as heavily armed as the police, but they do have weapons. And police in Kiev say that 29 of their police officers have had gunshot wounds this morning.
But what about infiltrators among the protesters?
It's all possible. I mean, there are all sorts of rumours, all sorts of scenarios. There have been cases when some of the people from the pro-government side were seen dressed in similar uniforms to the ones that provocateurs are dressed in the Independence Square. I think this forensic analysis may not be possible now, but what we know is that most of the bodies in the streets now have been killed in what appears to be police gunfire using live ammunition from assault rifles.
All right, Alexei, for the moment, thank you very much indeed, the former head of the BBC's Ukraine service. And I should underline that the three European Union foreign ministers apparently have been having a meeting with President Yanukovych, and they're going to be moving on immediately afterwards to a crisis meeting in Brussels to review whether there should be sanctions of some kind against those in Ukraine. For more information on Ukraine, go to the BBC website's live page. You'll find live video, the latest photos and information updated as it comes to us, and that's all on the BBC website, bbc.com/news.